interesting in life. So many things are mirrors about our bodies, our lifestyles. You look around the room, we don't have all that same hair color. We're not built the same, we're not the same age, don't have the same diet, don't have the same political or religious or spiritual beliefs. We're all very different. And yet in one thing in your body, we're not different. It's called collagen. It's the same in every blooming one of you. And we call it the structural protein. What does that mean? Do you ever think about it? What the heck is a structural protein? It means that if you took that part out, you'd just fly apart like you were in outer space without a spacesuit. It holds you together at the cellular level. That's your muscles, your organs, your bones, your ligaments, your tendons, your eyeball, your thyroid, your brain, your blood. It's all about this structural protein. And structural protein is a little bit like leather. If you leave it out in the sun for too long and you don't nourish it, it starts to crack and creak and get wrinkly, and pretty soon it just doesn't work right anymore. So the thing about collagen, this structural protein, so we can kind of divide it in two separate categories, but those categories absolutely interface. One is about weight loss, the other is about aging, okay? So, according to biochemistry, aging process is defined as the breakdown of the connective tissue, the structural protein of the human body. We're running along, we're Gina's age, we're Michelle's age, the world is great, we're immortal, you know, you don't even know what your shortcomings are yet. And then all of a sudden you get up one day and you know, that vigor and vitality isn't really quite there. And then we begin to notice that that flexibility isn't quite there. Oh, and then the little wrinkles start to show up. And the vision doesn't work right, and the hair growth and texture changes. And these are all warning signs from your body that you're not taking care of that leather. You're keeping it out in the sun too long, and you're not doing the maintenance. And this is another thing that I find is absolutely the same in all people. We'll take care of every dog, cat, kid, garden, floor, drapery in our clothes, and we don't remember that this guy that we beat to death and put up hot and wet every night needs to have some of that maintenance too, and that maintenance is collagen. Collagen is amazing. You guys can make claims here about osteoarthritis. I'll tell you, I've used it in my clinic from way back, and I'm telling you, I can get you through a burn or a surgery in half the time because the body knows itself. So, the aging process begins. Here's our world. We get up in the morning, we've got a certain amount of energy in that bank account, right? And we run around and we do everything that we have to do, and we're not paying attention to any other part except everything I gotta do, I gotta get done. And then all of a sudden one day we wake up with the wrinkles. What happened? I'll tell you what happened. Until you're about 40 years of age, a very high percentage of the energy that you burn internally every moment of your life is on repair and regeneration. 40, 45, 50 comes along, guess what's happening? We're spending less and less and less on repair and regeneration. And we call it osteoporosis, and we call it wrinkles, and we call it cataracts, and we call it thyroiditis, and we call it all kinds of things, but it's because we're not regenerating at the same rate. Remember when you were a kid? Work all day, go down on the beach, play football, drink alcohol, stay at a party all night, get up the next day, you're back. Try that when you're 50. Go ahead, I dare you. Where is that aspirin? I mean, I don't even like over-the-counter stuff, but I think about that whole idea, and I'm ready for the bottle of aspirin right now. But what I know is the body is really smart. The body is really intelligent. Your brain processes 450,000 bits of information per second. Think about it. Doubles every second. And it's really going faster than that because we know that your brain monitors the oxygen in every mitochondria in your body. That's 90% of your cells. How many cells you got in there? I'm here to tell you it's a lot. It's also monitoring where it's going to take the cysteine out of the egg yolk you had for breakfast this morning and who's going to get it and what route it's going to go to get there. So these structural proteins are amazing because they form us. But there's another step that's amazing. And that is they hold information. They're intelligent. Proteins are intelligent. How do you think all the knowledge gets kicked around in this body? It's not zinc. It's not even vitamin C. They're great antioxidants, great antivirals, and all those kinds of things. But it's the proteins that are delivering the messages, and they do that in a number of ways. Neurotransmitters, hormones, and some other chemistry in our body that's all made of proteins, every bit of it. So how important is it for us to maintain our proteins? How many of you eat junk food? Be honest. I'm not going to get mad at you.
Lots of.
I'm going to tell you that when you get junk food, they're buying the cheapest protein crap money can buy. Garbage. So the second phase of this is your body's repair ability is inhibited by toxicology. So the dirtier your diet, the dirtier your cells, the harder it is going to be to maintain vim, vigor, vitality, youth, beauty, and strength. I'm 67 years old, I can still jerk 80 pounds. That's well over half my weight. Okay? Think about it. Okay? So, these structural proteins then that aren't getting regenerated, what can we do about that? Well, we can give them collagen. But are all collagens the same?
No.
Very good. They are definitely not the same. Chicken collagen isn't the same as bovine, is it? And then what if we just look at bovine? There's all kinds of bovine collagen out there. Do some internet snooping. Go look at some of these collagen protein shakes that you can buy. If you look at the fine print, there's almost zero bovine collagen, just enough to be able to have it on their label. The first ingredient is soy, the second ingredient is dairy, all of which is no damn good for you. Right? Because it doesn't match your amino acid profile. This body identifies everything. And it does it in the blink of an eye, even faster. I love part of what Cal was saying today, because that he reminded me of something called mirror neurons. Do you know what a mirror neuron is? Why not? I mean, these are some sophisticated dudes, and you got a load of them. It's what allows you to know when somebody's jerking your chain. Somebody calls you up on the phone, you haven't talked to them in 2 years, hi, how are you, and you're sitting there, you're waiting. They're going to pitch something, you just know. Because the mirror neurons got it immediately. These are real, we can track them. They're your lie detectors, and they move really fast. They move really fast. So we have to use our lie detectors on ingredients. And where the ingredient comes from and how it's processed, in terms of what your body will accept from it, is huge. So when Gina said, this collagen, she said a mouthful. Where it comes from on the cow and how it's processed is what makes all the difference. All the difference. Now we kind of have two forms. We've got our new Nafina, which by God I love. I mean, I could probably just live on that stuff. It's probably not a really good idea, but I mean, I like it so much I could just do it and forget cooking. And I love to cook. And then we have Probita. What's the difference? You guys have all heard me say, don't mix that collagen with another protein because these guys are so social. They get dates and they run off to the party, and at the end of the party, everybody leaves with a different date. That's what proteins do. If they didn't, you wouldn't have hair and bones and cartilage, you wouldn't have neurotransmitters, you wouldn't have mirror neurons. They wouldn't be there. They're very sociable. So when you start mixing them up, things are going to change. So how is it that you can now have Nufina with all this other stuff in it and have it still work? Well, number one, there's no other protein in there. Yeah. Okay? Number two, we know that vitamin C is critical to the processing of amino acids and proteins. Okay? But its purpose is to replace a meal and give you a ton of nutrition that's instantly absorbable. And it is instantly absorbable. So if you eat the great American breakfast, let's say you get up and you have 1 egg, half a piece of toast, and a small bowl of oatmeal. How many carbs to protein are you getting when you do that? People say, oh, I ate beans. They're really high in protein. I'm going, yeah, for a vegetable. 1 cup of beans maybe has 12 to 16 grams of protein, 44 to 56 grams of carbohydrate. You're done. You didn't lose weight that day. Ain't going to happen because you're not out running a marathon. And that's the only way you're going to burn up those carbs, and if you don't burn them up, what does the body do? It would be lovely if we just pushed the button and they went down the drain, but that's not what happens. The body converts it and stores it as fat. Okay? And we're all a little bit different. I want to borrow a couple. Will you come up here with me for a minute? I'm not going to pick on you, but I want to use you to help others. Whoops. Oh, no, go around. Let's have you go around. Go around to the stairs. I don't want you to hurt yourself. We're going to give you more Probuta because he's better. What else?
For a year.
You've been on it for a year. How much weight have you lost?
None.
Why not?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to tell you. Okay? You're very unique. Your body, the most of your weight is here. From the back and the side's not bad. Skinny little legs, right? Not bad on the arms either. You notice that, right? What's this about? When you put weight from here to there, it's about 2 things. Poor thyroid, carbohydrate intolerance. How many carbs are you eating a day? How many pieces of bread? 2 pieces of bread. Okay, what about potato, rice?
Nope.
Okay. Any kind of noodles? No. So you do 2 pieces of bread and?
And that's dry, and that's also sourdough, no sugar in it, no nothing.
Okay. What goes with it?
1 egg
Okay.
with some egg whites.
Okay. And what about lunch?
Lunch, right now it's Nufina, but normally it's a salad or it's some salmon.
Okay, and so the salad has cheese?
Nope.
Okay, good.
No cheese.
And then dinner, are you supper or dinner? Supper. What's supper?
Supper could be anything. It's always protein, mainly fish, very little beef. Believe me, with the weight I carry, I don't eat that much.
Okay. And so I'm adding up the amount of protein to carbs. Not bad. But you're not losing weight.
No.
Are you snacking?
Nope.
Soda popping?
Nope.
Coffee?
Coffee, yes. Breakfast.
Breakfast only? That
About
should
3
be fine.
cups breakfast.
That
That's
should be fine. It should actually be helping your liver. Family history of diabetes?
none that I know of
No.
in my background.
Well, it's coming.
Probably, yes.
So when you take,
And I've tried all.
you take Lucina, you take Provita,
Provita. I've done that for a year since it came out.
what about wellness?
No, I don't take that much wellness. I have a problem with the flavor of those two.
Okay, what about a multivitamin?
Yes,
Okay. And do you know anything about the quality?
Quality, Purity out of New York. They always seem to be a good company. They do. They have profiles where you can see what they analyze.
My grandmother taught me something a long time ago. She said, figures don't lie, but liars figure to sell products. Okay. So when we are developing carbohydrate intolerance and the metabolism is slowing down and we've got some problems with the knees, if you have a 1-ton truck and you load it with a ton of stuff and you're flying down the freeway and you come to a 20% incline, what's going to happen? You're going to have to pop it out of 5th into 4th, and you have to step on the gas, and from 4th into 3rd and step off the gas, and the miles per gallon go in the dumper, right? So for those of us who have to deal with this carbohydrate intolerance, then the vital nutrients, extra fuel, what's nutrition? It's your fuel. Oh, yeah? The more stresses you have, the higher you burn the fuel, yeah? So I would like to see you on a multivitamin that is pretty specific in terms of, like Gina, it doesn't have to be 100,000 times the minimum daily requirement. It's really stupid. That's why we have the most expensive urine in the world. And we do, it's true. But the quality of what there becomes extremely important because your body's ability to absorb is different than someone else's. I know immediately that you're nutritionally deficient because of what I'm seeing in your face. A very old science called cytonomics. It's absolutely 100% bang on the money. You're not getting enough zinc, you're not getting enough selenium, you're not getting enough chromium, and you're not getting enough vanadium. In order for all of this to come together and work, and make this work, we need those things. Now, here's what I want you all to remember. Write it down if you're taking notes. Don't buy oxides or carbonates. It'll take 20 years to break down on the compost pile of your garden. Why the heck would you put it in your body?
What was it?
Oxides and carbonates. So if you buy a calcium supplement, thank you very much for being willing to do this. So, one of the things that these guys do is they slough in the oxides and the carbonates because they're way cheap. So you go buy your calcium at the store and boy, you look at it, it says calcium carbonate, calcium malate, calcium fumarate. It's got all these different forms. You think, wow, this is really good. This is really smart, right? Wrong. Because the first ingredient is carbon, and that's 80 to 90% of what's in there. The rest is just fluff. It's making you feel good about buying it because it's got so many kinds. Okay? Always look for citrate, amino acid, chelate as your first forms. There's a little bit of carbonate on the end, I don't care. Small amount of calcium carbonate actually enhances our absorption of omega-3 fatty acids. So, I want you to become label readers, and everybody says to me, God, I wouldn't know that. Well, of course not. You're not Gina, and you're not Rena. I'm an antique now. She's the new generation. If I had to pass my biochemistry degree, I'd probably fail. The whole terminology is different than it was 45 years ago. But one thing I can tell you, that there are certain fundamental practices that happen inside of you every moment of your life. And it's like anything else. If you buy a $10 tire, you're probably going to get 10 miles of use. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Okay? So, if you're not rich, at least go get the $50 tire, right? Because now you're not going to have to be going back to that place waiting to have them put on over and over again, and that's all time where you could be making money. Right? With nutrients, get demanding. Don't buy the junk and they'll quit making it. Doesn't matter how much they cost their cot to put a product out there that's cheap. If nobody's buying it, they're losing money every day. We need to stand tall on the quality of what we put inside of ourselves. And it doesn't matter where you are. If you're coming back, if you've been through a surgery, if you've been through a divorce, if the whole world fell apart yesterday, you're gonna survive. I mean, if one thing life teaches us, we do. We survive, we pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and at some point we get going down the road again. But when it comes to your body, never settle. Never settle. For those of you who are young and beautiful, take the Bloomin' Collagen because you're going to stay that way. You're not going to have to backpedal like some of us in our late 60s. Right? But now it's here. So I want you to give it a chance. And I want you to give it a chance in three ways. First, I want you to get serious about the kind of supplements you buy. And if you can't, if there's something, because everybody has a sensitivity to something. Trust me, I work with people who are allergic to their own hair and their own husbands. So we live in a very complex world. It's true. It's crazy as it sounds. It's absolutely true. Pick a quality support. Listen, Fukushima is nuking, and it's the beginning wave. How important are your antioxidants? How important is the quality of what you're putting into your body every day, more important than it's ever been, not just for us, but think of the little people. When Gina said, anybody can take this, and she told you about cloudberry, phytonutrients. That was the message from Popeye on spinach, right? Now look what we know about spinach, the phytonutrients that are in there. So we have something with this company that I don't think you see every day. I just don't think you see every day. And when it comes to the collagen, you don't see it anywhere.
Can I ask a question?
Certainly.
I had some of the Nufina for the first time today, but I can't have sugar. I have systemic candida, and I noticed right away it makes me feel sick. I can't have any sugar at all.
What do we got in, what's in the Nufina, Gina, what's the sugar form? Is it maltol?
Cane sugar.
Beet?
Cane sugar.
Cane sugar.
And stevia.
And how many grams of sugar per serving?
6.
Okay. And, well, here, 10 grams of protein, right? Yeah, see, that's a little, I would like it better if it were more, we get 12 grams down here, but Canada won't let you do that for whatever reason. And they study the stuff, come on, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Well, that's another
I'm
story.
a big xylitol and stevia.
But what about, what else do you take for beef?
Oh, I probably do no problem.
Okay, so you're okay with that? Okay.
No problem.
Well, take that under advisement. We may have some surprises coming down the road with other formulations about some other ideas that you might be happy about. Get rid of the Candida. What's the matter with you?
I've tried for years. I went on a diet for 5 years.
No. Anybody else in here got, well, sure, I see a lot of bellies. Of course we got Candida all over the room. You know what? How many of you taken an antibiotic? Ever in your life? Even just for the dentist. Antibiotics make you fat. Did you know that? Watch Dr. Oz. They're finally admitting it. We've been observing it for 45 years. You want to know why? Here's the hotbed research in obesity today. You ever wonder about that guy that's tall and skinny? He eats 8,900 calories at a meal and he can't gain a blooming ounce? Somebody in science decided maybe we should look at that abnormality. Guess what they found out? Inside of his little tummy tum-tum, he has some characters called probiotics and prebiotics that those of us who fight the battle of the bulge do not have. So he eats, and these probiotics just digest it like speed. So it's like he's out running at maximum output 24 hours a day. Well, sign me up. Sign me up. So here's the deal. Here's what happens. Those antibiotics are broad spectrum, right? That means it goes in and it kills all the gut flora. You've got at least 600 different kinds of gut flora. We used to think there were 4 or 5. Now we know. Oh my God, there's ones that control everything from streptococcus to you name it, including obesity. Now, your gut is like an airport, yeah? So this part of the gut absorbs from that part of the body, and this part of the gut absorbs from this part of the So it's full of apartments and townhouses and country estates. But if all the foreigners move in and fill up all the houses, all the apartments, and all the country estates, I don't care how good your diet is, and I don't care how many probiotics you take, there's no room for anybody to move in. They're leaving town. They're leaving the country. They're on the next boat. And what's worse, here's what they don't tell you. Candidiasis is part of your natural gut flora. It's supposed to live down in what we call New Jersey in the States. That's sort of the armhole of the United States. And when it sees all those townhouses in Manhattan vacant, where they come in and turn down your pillow and leave a little chocolate there for you before you go to bed, of course they want to move up down, wouldn't you? And they're like rabbits, only faster. I mean, they can make a lot of babies really quick. I mean, a lot of babies really quick. So it doesn't take too long before the lemmings are marching to the sea. All right? So first thing you got to do is you got to clear some substrate space. And you need to work with somebody who understands the chemistry of this. Because when you get the right stuff, you take it for about 10 days. By God, we've cleaned out some apartments. We even got the garbage cleaned up. Then you come back with your probiotic and start filling up those apartments with the good guys, you gotta do it for a while. Because it takes a little time for them to become self-sufficient. One of Canada's jobs for you is to eat the dying lactobacillus culture. So you get all full of this wonderful fungus and you're out there eating the dairy products and the sugar and the gut's getting bigger and bigger and the fungus is getting happier and happier and your ears are itching and you've got chronic sinusitis and you've got the worst belching gas thing there is and you just don't feel good. Well, candidiasis creates over 400 known toxins that just about kill you. They can screw with your memory, your skin, your hair, your digestion, your lungs, your bronchial tubes. They can make you feel like, you know, you're spacey and took a drink and never left the farm. It's pretty awful stuff. And so we just think we'll take the antibiotic, we'll throw down the probiotics, and all we're doing is feeding it. And it's hard to manage because its basic job inside of you is to eat your body when you die. So it's tough. So it takes a two-pronged approach. You have to take something that repels it and something that kills it. And one without the other will never work. Gina will work on that product. What do you think?
What are the outfits?
Okay, she's doing it. She's back there writing the formula right now. I like this girl. She can stay. Give her a hand. Yes. For many people who don't lose weight, can't lose weight, and are really trying, like this beautiful lady that got a gut full of fungus. And what's happening is her body is taking everything to try and maintain the situation. Nitrates and ammonia are the two most toxic byproducts of fungal overgrowth in your body, and it bloomin' kills your liver. That's why you eat one carb and you feel crappy. You eat the proteins, you feel better. Why? Because you're getting these wonderful specific amino acids that neutralize the nitrates and ammonia, and it takes the pressure off of your liver. And the liver, by the way, is the guy who processes all fats, period. Stored or incoming, doesn't matter. So if it's under a deluge of nitrates and ammonia, and it can't neutralize it, and the reason I know with you is you've got these deep dark circles. That's kidney. And when that pattern sets up, I know that you're high in ammonia. And I would bet that if you, probably an hour or two after you eat that bread, if I smelled your feet, it would smell like ammonia. Because as soon as you put that in there, that instantly fires up the fungus. So this is something that I hope the company will address over time because we know it's a major building block. So now, we go out, we spend our day, we work, we come home, we go to bed at night, and we forgot that after age 40 we're not regenerating the way we used to, and we have these cute little guys called mitochondria. They manufacture the most important energy source in your body called ATP, adenyl triphosphatase. By age 40 you're down 40%. So now when you go to bed at night, that first 2 hours of sleep is when you regenerate. And you spend about 40% of your calories with this regeneration. Now all of a sudden we're not doing it very well, which means we're not spending as many calories, right? Because maintenance is hard. You ever rip up the floors, paint the walls, take that wallpaper, replace your windows? You get dirty. It's hard work. Your body's doing it at the cellular level for you every day of your life. Problem is, once we get to a certain age, our budget gets smaller. So we have to pick and choose. So then it's about the heart, and it's about the brain, and it's about these things that keep us alive, but not regenerated. So the value of collagen is quite simply this. When taken in the appropriate fashion, that means how it's processed, where it came from. We give the body a tool to reactivate this regeneration. That's pretty cool. And it works every time. I love Sherry's story because it doesn't work in the same time frame for every person because you don't know necessarily all what needs to be repaired in there. I mean, you may have a heart condition you don't even know about yet. And most people don't know about heart conditions until they have the heart attack, do they? Okay? We get warnings, but we don't pay attention. The thing I love about these products, and then we'll go to Q&A if that's what you want me to do. No? Okay. Tell me when you want me to shut up. Because you know me, I'll go all day. So I think the important thing is to understand we have two logical pathways here. One is this regeneration thing, which is really important. Now, body identify with bovine collagen if it's processed the right way. Why is that? Because we leave some of these cute little guys called peptides in place. And they all know their cousins and their aunts and their uncles and their Grammy. They all know each other. And when that comes in, it instantaneously gets sent someplace inside of you to go to work. And it may be your kidneys. It may be your liver. It may be your heart. It may be that that little click in the hip was a bigger problem than a lot of people knew. Because by the time you get a symptom, things are getting serious. Don't, oh, my grandma was that way. Oh, I'm just a little stiff and sore. Let me tell you, I don't know how the shot across the bow can get any louder. Well, it happened to my mom at the same time. Well, fine. If that's what you want to do, you go do it. But I'm not buying that ticket. We are that far away from declaring aging a disease. We now call it a condition, not a necessity. In Petri dishes, we've been able to extend cell life 300, 400, 500 times. We're regrowing chopped off fingers. I can take your DNA and grow you a new custom bladder. We could transplant that baby in there, no anti-rejection medications, nothing. It's yours. The body welcomes it home like its long-lost twin, because that's what it is. These are some of the frontiers of proteins. And collagen protein is where it's at. I don't think there's another company out in the marketplace today that has this purity of a product. And boy, you know, when Ryan Lewis called me up and asked me about ProVita and would I look at it, I said, well, I have to know three things. I want to know how the cows are raised, where it comes from off the cow, and how it's processed. And then I'll tell you whether I'll look at your formula or not. Because if it didn't have those three things, I wasn't going there anyway. Because I already know. You guys are late to the game. I was doing this stuff 47 years ago. I know Harold Gans personally. He filed the first patents on bovine collagen that was processed with a cold enzymatic process. Absolutely critical to the benefit. If you find that it's not working for you in terms of weight loss, I want you to begin to think outside of the box. Am I giving my body enough support? Am I digesting what I'm eating? I think for you, this is no. I think that these vital blood sugar balancing, but also enzyme producing minerals are absent and have been for a long time. And I think you do have a fungal imbalance in your gut, and you need to get with somebody who can fix that. And then I even think your knees are that. You know, they'll tell you, oh, well, you're bone on bone, nothing will ever fix that. Let me tell you what. That's a lie. You got something called DNA. DNA knows everything about you. Every little cell, every little system, every little hormone, everything inside of you. So I tell you about a girl by the name of Linda. She worked for a very famous chiropractor in Southern California. 3 surgeries to both knees. She had the chair that lifts her up. She has the bed because she can't bend. Right? They said it'll never happen. You're going to have this for the rest of your life. So we got her all those years ago when it was still available, a really high quality cold enzyme, Arnold Gans, collagen. And we said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to mega dose you. We're going to give you 4 ounces 4 times a day on an empty stomach. We're going to start at 1, and then we're going, because you're going to detox, right? You clean up the cell, you strengthen the cell, what does it do? You clean yourself up, you get stronger, better, what do? You go do something. Yeah? You can't wait to get on the bike. You can't wait to go dancing. Gee, sometimes you can't even wait to clean the house because you have this energy, right? So we said, we know that that's going to happen. She's been through 3 surgeries, that means antibiotics and pain medication and being opened up and anti-inflammatories and all this kind of stuff. And 1 year and 16 days later, she called me up crying. And she said, "You're not going to believe what I'm doing." I said, "Try me." She said, "I'm squatting." She was doing this where for 7 years she hadn't been able to bend her knee at all. They'll tell you, "Oh, it's not possible." What that really means is there's not a drug that'll do it, there's not a surgeon that'll do it, so then therefore it can't be done. Sorry, God's a little smarter. God's pharmacy really does work, and I want you to cooperate. Here's what I challenge all of you to do. I'm going to give you a little lesson here. For those of you who put on your weight from your shoulders to the hip, here, then think about thyroid problems, think about carbohydrate intolerance, the beginning of type 2 diabetes, okay? And take a look at your diet and see what you're doing to promote it or stop it. If you're carbohydrate intolerant, don't eat it. Grains go. Get it from veggies, right? Lots of veggies have lots of fiber. They have carbohydrate, you know. In the old days, in the paleo days, you know, there weren't no amber waves of grain over here. It was all grass. It's an import. There wasn't any corn either. That came up from South America in the trading. The Native American people ate meat, root vegetables, berries, fish. That's it. That was the whole diet. And they didn't have diabetes and they didn't have obesity. That came with, you know, the Indian fry bread and the corn. They never had obesity. Think about it. They never had diabetes. Guess what? They also never had cancer. So when America began, our grain was buckwheat. Except it's not a grain. It's an herb. It grows on a bush. Within 2 decades from the time that refined grains came to the United States of America, all of these new diseases were cropping up, and the ones that we had were quadrupling, almost like a viral effect, from replacing buckwheat with white flour. Is there any food worth that? So I have diabetes on both sides of my family. I have 2 sisters who've lost their eyes and their kidneys. Thank God there's a bunch of us who we can donate spare parts because they're still here because they're the smartest of all of us. But you know, it didn't take very long when I watched my sister Elva give a kidney to my sister Flo. She's juvenile onset diabetic. She got the new kidney and she started healing at a phenomenal rate. I mean, it was like unbelievable. And within days, she was out of bed. Elva, my sister who donated the kidney, way different story. It's one thing to get a new healthy organ. It's something else to have a healthy organ cut out of your body. It took her 11 weeks to be able to function normally again. I looked at that and I said, you know what? There ain't no biscuit, there ain't no bread, there ain't no piece of rice that's worth it. And the good news for me is I like green beans. I like carrots. I like beets. I like artichokes. I like all those things. So look at your diet. If you are a person that gains weight uniformly, fingers, toes, everything, so much so that you can be 50 pounds overweight, you don't look bad, this is a pituitary type. So now I'm going to tell you that if you are that person, replace your evening meal with Nufina. That's where you need to cut the calories because pituitary is active at night. If your thyroid, you know what a T-type is, we gain the weight from here to here, but our waist always stays little until you get way out of balance like you. We'll get you back. We'll get you back. Good. The best meal to replace is lunch, and that's what you're doing.
Yes.
You're on the right track.
Good.
Okay?
I tried.
Now, if you're adrenal type, then you're the perfect replacement for breakfast. Get that shake going in the breakfast. That will begin to work with the natural rhythms of your metabolic type. And then I challenge you, write down the junk food. I want you to write it down so at the end of the month you can really add up how many cookies, crackers, ice cream cones, French fries. God, you know the story about French fries. You know these little tiny packs of French fries that you get, you know, I love French fries. I love them a lot, so I stay away from those places. But about twice a year, I indulge just because I bloom and love them. They just, I don't know how anything so bad for you can taste so good. So one of those little things weighs 32 grams. One of those little paper things, you know, French fries. How many grams of that 32 grams do you think is fat? Got a guess? 30, that's right. And that's not the only fat, though, that's important. It's 32 grams of trans fat. It plugs up your liver. Who burns up the fat? Now, do you suppose that that 30 grams of fat goes out of the liver overnight just because you're a good girl the next day? Not happening. But what does get rid of bad fat? Good fat, exactly right. So people say to me, oh, I'm not eating that avocado, man. That's got a lot of fat. And I'm looking at them and they've got blue cheese dressing on their salad and fried chicken for lunch. And you're worried about an avocado? You know what? Not all tires are the same. Not all fats are the same. Some of them plug you up and some of them fuel you up. So get rid of that stuff and get the avocado going. Sit down, make a list, get real. You know what? John always can find me, all these people. If you really are having a problem you can't resolve, I will help you do it. I will help you do it because the knowledge is there. I mean, you guys all know my story, right? 247 pounds, 5'1" when I take off these shoes that I need to be able to sign at the counter without doing it with my nose because I'm so blue and short. You can do it. You can do it. The science exists. But I'm going to close with this. If you came to my clinic, one of the first things I would do is I would take you on a tour of my stockroom, where there's about $250,000 in inventory. And I'd point a few things out, what this is, this is whole food, this is made from beets and beet greens, that's made from this and that. And it does this when combined with that in the body. And now that I got your attention, I'll look you right in the eye and I said, look, here's the deal. I can give you every bloomin' pill in my pharmacy. But until you shape up about your diet, you're lying to yourself, you're lying to the world, and we're not setting a good example for the next generation. Obesity is up 40% in kids under the age of 14. Whose fault is that? It's ours. See, you got all these people, Cal, everybody, they're in love with this company, and I am too, but for a different reason. And that reason is, I believe we can change the degrading health profile that we're looking at every day happening to our little people. We're not leaving them a cleaner world. And they need their brains more than my generation did, because they're going to have bigger issues. We can do something about that. And we can do it without ever opening our mouths. We can do it by example, and we can do it by getting honest. We have to do it in this way. Yeah, we got to make money. God knows, the mortgage has got them coming. We all got those things. And it's wonderful if we can make our money in service to other people because it's who we are. That's why you have neurons. It knows when I look you in the eye that I care. It knows I ain't lying. You can't fool it. We all know this. We've all been in that place where we looked at this person who seemed absolutely sincere and we knew he was the music man. We knew he was beating a drum for an entirely different reason. The only thing he cared about us was the bucks. But that's not the foundation of network marketing, and that's not the foundation of this company. Do a little bit better every day. Start with yourself. Put that example out there because you live in an energetic world. Someone said to me, "You're all over YouTube." I said, "You're kidding." She said, "No." I said, "No, you what?" I didn't know. I had no idea. Now I know why my kid calls me and says, "Mom, you're all over the place. I don't want to hear it. Get me off." No, Mom, it doesn't work that way. There's an energetic thing about this internet, yeah? Once it's out there forever. Been on advisory boards for other companies. Google it, you can find it. I don't, but my kid does. Right? Well, the beautiful example of that is time, space, continuum. Once you've done something, it's there forever. The way you change it is how you do what you do today. Take a minute in all sincerity and love yourself. Do you hear what I'm saying? We give it all away. Every day of our life, we all do it. We all do it. We drop everything we're doing and we run to help somebody else, and it's admirable. The thing I love about Homo sapiens sapiens is that we are at our very best when things are their very worst. But we keep falling over one thing, and that is we have to love ourselves. You can't give love if you ain't got it. And if you ain't invested in this one, you ain't got none in the bank account. You know it, I know it. So take a moment, 5 seconds. I'm asking for 5 seconds of your time every day to stand in front of that mirror and look into your own eyes and say, "I love you and thank you for packing me all this way. Thank you for taking care of me when I didn't eat right, and when I pushed myself to 18 or 19 hours because somebody else's need was greater." And when you do that, an energy will run through your body that maybe many of you have never experienced. Guess what it does? It reconnects everybody to everybody. When you have a community in disaster, everybody gets off their butt and goes to work because there's a common need. You're the same. It is that space-time continuum. It is the internet. So the way you change the frequency and vibration of this life is to change yours. And you can do it in 5 seconds. Look in the mirror and say to your body, "I love you. Thank you for taking care of me when I didn't take such good care of you." Your life will begin to change. Last but not least, bless your products. If we can change the molecular structure of water by saying a prayer, if we bless that product that has the flavoring that you don't like, maybe your body can take it after all. Try it.
I put it in your feet right now.
Okay, good. All right. I think I'm ready.